Hey, buddy.
Hi.
How you feeling?
Really friggin' good. Why are you acting so skittish?
Well, I thought...
Is it because you suck again?
No, I thought you were going to be more upset about the Hampus injury.
Oh, yeah, that. It turns out it's just minor, not related to the knee. I feel kind of silly now, honestly.
Oh, that's good to hear. Wait, so then why do you feel silly?
Yeah, I'm too lazy to edit out the Hampus talk in the recap videos, so now people just kind of have to sit through it knowing it's just a minor injury.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That and I was gonna for revenge.
I don't think you can say that.
Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team that is a job. Undefeated, by the way. 2-0, by the way. Pretty emphatic wins, but okay, not that one. But still, great wins, great start to the season. Really fun storylines throughout, and a massive black cloud hanging over all of us right now. No, at the time of recording, I don't have a Hampus Lindholm update for the non-contact injury that he was involved with. So, I am not sure how to feel about that. I am, but I feel like it would really put a damper on the whole video. So, we're going to talk about things, and then we're going to talk about him later on in the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Nailed it. You gotta feel good. Look, there's gonna be people who have the capability of poking all sorts of holes in this, and we're gonna talk about some of those holes later in the video, but how did you want them to start the year, right? I would take 2-0-0. I think I would take that. And I don't really care how they came about it, because looking at this roster before the season started, you went, I don't know what this team is. They could be a bottom 5 team. A lot of people in the comments were very much on the be miserable for McKenna train, which, I mean, it's 2 games. Who knows? We might be 3 weeks away from being like, yeah, that was right. But you would prefer this all day. And one thing about this start, above all else, that actually makes this fun and interesting and enjoyable, because if you're the Blackhawks, or you're the Sharks, or whomever, like bottom-dwelling teams that know they're not ready to compete yet and are still a bad team. I'm very excited about what the Sharks are building, but like they're still mostly a bad team. A couple of wins at the beginning of the season, they go, okay, cool, fun, but we know where we are. The Bruins have a lot of veteran players, and they're playing a style that really fits their roster. And they, again, all the wheels could fall off tomorrow, but this team has bought into a design. They've bought into a strategy. They've bought into a style. And a huge amount of credit to the coaching staff, Sturm, and everyone else. This team has bought in on what they can be. And there's mistakes all over the place. Everyone's still getting used to everything, and you can tell there's miscues, there's mishaps, there's the hockey viz cards, the stat cards that go up after these games on Twitter. They show Yoki Haru as like the worst defensive performance he could have possibly had, which frankly I didn't really see that much of. I saw a couple moments where I was like, yeah, Yoki, we know he's not an all-star defenseman, like a defender, but they just crushes him with his graph, and I'm like, actually, I thought he was all right. Like, for the most part, all right. This team has bought into a style that everyone is willing to play. And I think that's going to be a hard thing to maintain through the year. I think that is a challenging thing, because it's easy to say out loud, but if any of you have ever played a sport, been on a team, the fluctuations through the year, the individual feelings and pressures that you go through, it's a hard thing to maintain. But starting off the year with it, and starting off the year with it strongly, huge. Just massive. I'm wildly impressed. I'm wildly impressed. Not all of these games are going to be as entertaining as this one. In fact, I would say most of this game wasn't pure entertainment. It got really interesting towards the end. That is probably more likely, considering we're going to be in a lot of really tight battles. But even when the team gave up a goal, I'm talking too much about it. We'll get there. We'll get there. So I want to talk about Chicago for a quick moment. We're not deep enough into the season for me to really do like a, this is what's going on with this team kind of thing. But if I'm a Chicago fan, I am focused on the fact that last year we were the second worst team in the league. we had the 7th worst offense, 2nd worst defense, and the 8th worst team save percentage. This year is not about suddenly catapulting ourselves towards playoff status. It is not about even really wins or losses. It is purely about improvement on individual players. Yes, you want to know you can trust the coaching staff. Yes, you obviously want the GM to make good decisions and whatnot. But when we're talking about the actual games, you're focused on Vlasic. You're focused on Rinzel. You're focused on Bedard, obviously. There's a ton of names. But you are really focused on a lot of these guys and how they're going to grow. Levshunov, I'm going to say Levshunov, was terrible at this game. He was all over the place. He actually made some really impactful plays. That's not fair to say terrible, but he had some really monumental mistakes that directly led to them losing this game. Obviously, it went to overtime. Like, there wasn't one of those things where he lost them the game, but he was a big part in how the Bruins were able to stay in it and eventually win it. They're not really that concerned with it, right? He's super young. He's gonna need time. He's going to get a lot of minutes this year. They just want to see him improve through the year. If any Blackhawk fan is just crushing this kid right now, they need to take a step back and go, oh, right, I need to let this process. That's what we need to do with Lohrei. And Lorai's much older. So, I think. I'm fairly certain, unless Levshunov got drafted at an age that doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm like double checking myself now just out of concern. Yeah, he's 19. Yeah, okay. I was going to say, sometimes I mix up names and I want to make sure. No, with that team, that fan base, they're not super worried about the wins, losses. Losing to a Bruins team that a lot of the league is looking at right now as should be fodder for good teams. Yeah, I'm sure they're kind of like, I would have liked that win, but they're not too worried about it. Another high draft pick is in their future. For the Bruins, the lineups are exactly the same as last time. Geeky, Lindholm, Pasta, Zaka, Mittelstadt, Arvidsson, Jeannot, Minton, Asimont, Huznadinov, Corelli, Kostelic, Lohrei, McAvoy, Lindholm, Peak, Zadorov, Yoki Haru. But Korpisalo is in net for this one, obviously, because it's a back-to-back. I don't have any, Bruins notes here. We're going to get to the biggest one in just a little while, but let's just talk about this game. Puck drops. Puck drops. Puck drops! And it's one of those starts that you're kind of dubious about because, again, I have to call back to last year. It's just under 4 minutes into the game. It's a bad line change by the Bruins. It leads to an odd man rush for the Blackhawks. Play gets broken up thanks to good positioning by Lohrei and a strong back check from Zaka, who I believe actually just came off the bench. I think that was part of the line change. But we get the puck, and we go back the other way. Mittelstadt is going to feed Arvidsson to the left wall, and he goes 1v1 versus Levshunov. I'm going to keep saying the name multiple times. And he embarrasses the kid. Goes right through his legs, goes around him. Nothing he could do. Absolutely digs his pants off. He's going to skate his way down to the goal line, and right before it looks like he's going to get behind the net, he's going to toss the puck into the net front where Grzelcyk is there, but he can't handle the puck, and luckily we have Mittelstadt with a strong stick there. He's going to slam that puck in past Grizz, under Soderblom's pads, and it's 1-0 just like that. The reason you're dubious is because last year, any early goal was a terrible sign. If you scored first in the first 5 minutes, we were about to lose that game 7-2. It was going to get gross so fast. But I had to reset. I had to lobotomize myself, reset the memory, electrodes, however you need to do it. Because this is not last year's team. They don't allow goals directly after they score them most of the time. And they are playing a structured style. A wonderful structured style. That can be kind of boring, but that's fine. 8:19 in, Zadorov has a silly turnover, and I'm not going to crush the guy. Zadorov was awesome. He is in the D zone. He looks like he's trying to pass it up the wall, but he changes his mind too late. His body already started the motion. He just gives the puck up. And so they get to continue their offensive zone pressure. He then jumps away from the net to lay a hit on Doc, which I actually thought was a great play. Usually, I'm very critical of him when he leaves his primary positioning to lay a hit. But this was an unpressured player who was making a play behind the net, who was 2 feet away from him, hit him hard, make him give up the puck. And it did force him to give up the puck, but he was able to get the pass off in time. Burakovsky's going to collect this in the right corner. No one sees Bedard just standing in the left circle with a clear passing lane past what is basically 4 Bruins. It's a great pass. It's a gorgeous shot. This is a bullet. Top blocker corner. I'm not doing Sniper-Rooney and cheese because I'm going to save that for when I have a chance to say it for a Bruin. I'm not starting the season with a Sniper-Rooney and cheese for an opposing player. Screw that. It was an awesome shot, though. I'm not really all that upset about how this went down because, yeah, I don't like that turnover, but that kind of stuff happens. It's not the end of the world. Asamont and Kostelic were playing that strong side of the ice where the puck was, leaving Corrali in the middle and Yoki Haru on the opposite side of the net playing his position. Corrali, you would have loved to see him drift to cover that passing lane, but also that would be leaving the slot wide open, so if either of the other defenders got beat to the middle, that's an even more egregious scoring chance. It's just a bad position to be in, really. You do want either Yoki or Corrali to shore up those passing lanes a little better. This is going to come with structure and time. I'm not overly concerned. And it was a great, great shot by Bedard, who did not have a lot of time to get that shot off. So it's 1-1, and we're going to move on. 6:59 left. Kostelic is going to get tripped up by Dickinson, and we're going to go to the power play. About 30 seconds into the power play, the puck is in the air. Pasta goes to grab it and takes a stick just right through everything. Upper body, wabop. Wabop! The ref's staring at him. Pasta looks at the ref like, you gotta be kidding me. Nothing. Pasta chases down Murphy, who did it, and slashes him. Now, of course, he's gonna get called, and of course I can criticize, much like I did in the previous video when I criticized Corrali for a veteran going after a revenge hit. And I'm gonna criticize Pasta for this. He lost his cool. That was an egregious non-call in my book, unless you guys saw it differently, but that was a clear high stick just right, and could have been really, really dangerous. Right at him. I don't understand what they were looking at. Pasta clearly hurt the ref's feelings after this. Because although Pasta did draw a call or two after that, there was some egregious shit. Some liberties taken with Pasta that the refs just didn't care about at all. Either way, so with that call on Pasta, now it's going to be 4-on-4 for about 45 seconds because a lot of time ran off that power play before we touched the puck again. We had possession twice. The refs just decided not to call it. I'm not a fan of the refs in this game. I thought they were egregious in every direction, but they were more egregious in the you can do whatever you want to a Bruin until, well, you couldn't. It was really bad. It was egregious both ways. I shouldn't say it was more one way than the other. We don't do anything with the 4-on-4. We kill off their power play out of it. We do realize as that power play starts for them that Hampus is no longer on the bench. He would not return to the game. There was a weird little leg twist he did at one point, non-contact, not even a twist, just a shimmy, I guess, would be the movement. I'm concerned. We're going to talk about that at the end. He's not going to come back for this game. We're going to go to the second period. We're 1-1. You feel good. You feel fine. This has been other than the Hampus stuff, you feel fine. This has been an interesting game for the most part. It's been slow and sluggish, but there are players that you can see are starting to really hit their groove with their line mates. It just hasn't taken long. And I think Zadorov's comments and Sturm's comments about the camp during the preseason and the lead up to the season about how invested everyone was, I think that's a lot of truth to that. There is rust being shaken off, but nothing like last year. Like this team came ready to play these games, which, again, you just love to see. About a minute into the second period, Murphy flat out tackles Pasternak directly in front of the ref. And again, just nothing. They just don't care. That's when I was like, yeah, he hurt your feelings, and now you're being a little bitch about it. Look, I have a ton of respect for refs, especially at lower levels where parents are psychopaths. But, I mean, just like baseball, some of the most emotional people on the planet. Just big old babies. But I have a ton of respect, especially at the lower levels, because parents are psychopaths. 2:22 in, a face-off win for the Blackhawks. Bedard scoops the puck up, feeds Louis Crevier. Didn't know we allowed the French in this league. At the top of the right circle, and he is going to shoot this. Korpisalo is moving towards the far side, towards the blocker side. It's going to deflect off Jeannot's stick and go high glove. So it looks like Korpisalo's literally moving away from the shot. Kind of funny. Bad deflection. 2-1. Nothing anyone can do about that one other than win the face-off. That would have been nice, but what are you going to do? 9-10 in. This is just good, hard-nosed hockey. This is what the Bruins are built on this year. And, of course, it's our third line, who has been so very quiet to start the year through the first 4 periods, but this is the 5th period, and they came to play. Eyssimont, Fraser Minton, Geekie, all taking brutal, hard hits along the boards to maintain possession of this. Geekie's going to switch out for Jeannot. Eysimont's going to play keep away, very Charlie Coyle style in the right corner, and he's going to kind of fake towards behind the net and then come right back around. Jeannot's going to get in position by the net. Eysimont's going to give himself a chance to shoot at the bottom of that right circle. Rebound gets to Jeannot. He just gets to flip it in easy, and it's 2-1. Good things happen when you go to the front of the net. Got to respect that. But the lead up to this play, it was a very simple goal. The lead up to it, the hits and the abuse that these guys had to take to create that, I mean, that's what it's all about right there. That's what we were looking for from that line. So that's going to be 2-2. Huznadinov is then going to go for high sticking. We're going to go to a penalty kill, about 7 minutes left. We kill that. And then 1:12 left. Huznadinov gets cross-checked by Green. We're going to the power play. Off the face-off, the first face-off, the refs are saying Foligno used his hand to win the draw. So it's 5-on-3 for just about 2 full minutes. We waste the minute and 12 seconds left of the period on 5-on-3. Completely stagnant. No one moves. They're just passing the puck back and forth. Nothing being opened up. One of our greatest pet peeves, right? The power play has looked way better. This was the only portion, I think, of the year so far, which is only 2 games, but where I've gone, what is the plan, guys? You didn't practice this? No movement at all? It's not going to be the same in the third, though. Third period starts. We still have about 45 seconds left on the 5-on-3. It takes about 15 seconds. Pasta to Zacha, down to the left of Soderblom. Zaka's going to quickly pass it across the crease. The pass does get broken up by a skate of a defender, but Elias, again, is there, taking physicality to punch it in to what is basically an open net. It finds a hole, whatever. 3-2, power play goal. Second power play goal of the year for Elias. Something that, if you remember when we signed, was part of the draw. We wanted him to be good on faceoffs, be a good defensive center, and help us in the power play. That does mean we still get 30 seconds on the power play, which is awesome for 5-on-4. The only reason this doesn't become 4-2 is because Soderblom had 2 sliding saves, one direction, one the other, on cross-slot passes. Excellent work by him, so we weren't able to capitalize. But the power play just, man, when they're moving the puck, they look so much better, and they do look so much better this year. I don't assume we'll have a top 10 power play or anything like that, but the process, even though they weren't very efficient tonight, way better than last year. So again, we're taking small wins. People are going to point out to me that like this can all collapse the next game. I get it, but while I can be excited, I want to be excited. That's just where I'm at right now. 2:21 in, the Bruins give it right back, which is really a bummer. Weak coverage and a poor line change. The Blackhawks are coming across the neutral zone with the puck. Forwards decide to change rather than chase. The puck goes from Nazar on the right side to Levshunov on the left. The defense, which is Yoki and Peak, are just backing up the whole time. They don't attack. They don't nothing. Levshunov is then going to drop past this to Burakovsky. He's going to have about 4 years to make a decision in the slot, and he's going to bury this. It's 3-3. It's infuriating. You gave it up basically right after you scored one. This is why I said earlier that, like, they don't, they don't always. It's fine. Team's not going to give up, though. Again, this is all about just changing the attitude and the reputation of what was last year's team. 4:02 in, we're going to the power play again. Nazar trips Pasta. We don't have any opportunity to actually finish anything here. We don't create a lot on that one. 10:10 left. McAvoy for interference. This one really pissed me off. 10 minutes left of a tie game in the third period. The ref is watching Bedard hold his stick. And then finally, when Mac rips the stick away, then the ref raises his hand and calls for interference on McAvoy. Bedard's on his ass. If the call was hooking, even with the clear chicken winging that was going on, I could be like, okay, I see why. Like, I get it. The stick got there. Interference? For what? For another guy holding your stick? He wasn't pinning him down. He was trying to get his stick away the whole time. He's looking at the ref with one arm up and the other arm like, I'm trying. Then he rips it away. And then the ref goes, that's interference. What, getting my stick back, chuckle fuck? I don't understand. I don't understand at all. And what really bothered me about a lot of these calls, and there was a ton of stuff missed too, don't get me wrong. The refs are staring at these plays. Like, they are full eyes on it. And they're still like, I think I'm just going to have an aneurysm right now and raise my arm. Like, they're bad at their jobs. That's just frankly the truth. I always forget how bad the officiating is to start the season and in the middle of the season and at the end of the season and in the playoffs. 8:15 left. A scrum after the whistle. Everyone partners up. Kuraly and Levshunov get tangled up. Kuraly scores a takedown. That was fun. Kuraly gets roughing. Zadorov gets cross-checking. Levshunov gets roughing. Nazar gets roughing. 6 seconds left of the original PK that we're on for McAvoy. We're going to kill the rest of that off. No other line changes or changes in man advantages or anything like that. 6:26 left. A 2-on-1 for Minton and Jeannot. Great pass by Minton. Diving Soderblom. Jeannot can't beat him. Soderblom made some crazy saves in this game. I thought he was really good, even if the numbers don't suggest so. 2:42 left. High sticking on Levshunov. We're going to the power play. Nothing doing. How many power plays do we have this game? I didn't even look this up. Yeah, we had 5. We went 1 for 5. It's not the most efficient in the world, but it's fine. It really is. That unit's going to get used to each other and get better, but I just like the way it looked. I like the way it looked for most of them. Go into overtime. I never really do the notes for overtime because it's so frantic back and forth. Korpisalo was awesome in overtime. That's what you need to know. He made a couple massive saves because we mostly got plowed over in overtime until it's a Fraser Minton 2-on-1 with Geeky on his left and the defenseman plays the pass. And for once, defenseman's playing the pass. I guess I better shoot. That's correct! Shoot! If the passing lane isn't there, give yourself the best possible angle and shoot the fucking puck! And he did. And then, to everyone's glee, he scores. And so not only do we get to go dub, not only do we get to go hard-fought, Bruins style, exactly what we want dub, ex-Toronto Maple Leaf dub. Kind of love to see it. It just adds a little dash of fun in there. Just a little dash. It's Halloween, right? Got a little freaky going on. 4-3, game notes. The important stuff. This team can't survive Hampus being injured for the year again. They can't. I'm just going to say it. I don't want to say it. I'm just going to say it. The wheels will... Yes, one player is that important right now. It's dire on the back end. Jordan Harris is going to have to start the next game in all likelihood. This is how last year started. And last year didn't go well. This would be a massive blow. I just can't understate that. Hopefully, he tweaked something and it felt bad. And he went to the bench and he's like, I might have just screwed it all up again. And the coaching staff was like, well, you're done for the night. I don't care what it is. You're done for the night. We're getting you checked out before we do anything else. If this comes out, it was abundance of caution. Awesome. If not, I don't want to say season's over because it's not. Next man up mentality. This would be such a massive blow again. For those of you calling him soft, A, you're kind of pointing out that you don't know anything about Hampus. And B, the guy just went through a horrific rehab for an awful injury that took what was basically over a year to actually get right. Well, not over a year, but basically a year. The guy's not soft. He would also kick the living shit out of you. I'm sure of it. I am sure of it. Hampus is not soft. I really don't like calling professional athletes soft physically, especially when it's for injuries. I didn't appreciate. There was a few comments of that. I didn't appreciate it, man. We got to have more respect for these guys than that. I get that, like, sometimes people will call them soft mentally for their reactions to things, and I can stomach that, obviously, but this guy is fighting so hard to, like, elongate his career and stay in the mix, and he was a great player when healthy for us. He's not soft. I just don't appreciate those kind of comments because I think they deserve more respect from us than that. Yeah. I'm sure that somewhere out there there's tape of me calling somebody soft before, but I just don't think it's related to injuries. And God, if I did and it was related to injury, I'm glad I've grown up a little bit because that just sucks for him. And I'm really hoping that this is better. Back to other stuff. It's super early, so in no way am I worried about this. But Geeky is having a start reminiscent of, well, when we used to make fun of Geeky a lot. This guy might lead the team in high danger opportunities. I wouldn't say high danger chances or shots because sometimes he doesn't even get the shot off. Pasta is setting him up over and over again. So is Elias. Like, he's getting great opportunities and he's missing wide or fumbling the puck over and over again. I'm not worried. He'll work his way out of it. It's 2 games into the season. It is a little hilarious, though. It's just kind of funny that we're starting this again. And I wonder if it'll last just long enough for us to start being like, Geeky sucks again. I don't think it will, but my God, it's been a disaster to watch him so far. Third line coming alive at the point that they did in the game was great to see. And it was really fun to watch them inflict some pain. That is a line that I really have high hopes for. Jeannot comes and goes as far as how impressive he is. Asamont does not. And Fraser Minton is quiet but effective. That's one of the... I'm hoping that's one of the better third lines in the league. I really like that line a lot. And again, Jeannot, I'm kind of mixed feelings on a lot here. But as long as you bring in the physicality and the net front presence, I'm happy. The other two can make it work. And Jeannot's been good in moments, like really good in moments. So I don't want to take anything away from him. I'm a little more dubious about how good he's going to be. But big enjoyer of the third line. Nice to see them come alive tonight. And lastly, this is important for me to say. Elias and Zadorov both looked really friggin' good tonight. Like, really friggin' good. I'm really excited. Elias looks healthier and is really physical at the net front and isn't afraid of it at all. Zadorov has been responsible and been kicking the shit out of people. There's no reason not to praise them right now. You know me. You know how critical I've been of these players. I have beat the drum about those contracts. And I am not willing to say anything but positive things about them right now. There are little miscues with Zadorov still, I know, defensively. But for the most part, he looked friggin' awesome. And so did Elias. That would be so big for this team, man. That would be so big. So, nice to see that going in a different direction than I expected. And again, we talked about them all summer and through camp about the keys to the team's success kind of lie on these 2 decent-sized contracts of guys that are going to have to play some really big minutes for us. So far, so good. Really promising start. Anyway, let me know what you guys think below. Don't call Hampus soft. Like, comment, subscribe. Nailed it. Go Bees. Go Bees!